Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your Mercury Retrograde Reading. Now, Mercury Retrograde period is with us right now until around the 10th of March. And it is the time when the planet Mercury seems like it's moving backwards. Mercury represents the god of communication. It's the messenger god. So our thoughts, our interpretations, our plans, schedules, and overall communication might be a bit muddled, might be a bit delayed, might be a bit unexpected. And since Mercury retrograde is happening in the sign of Pisces, we might be getting some messages about our psyche, about our subconsciousness, about our emotions. So it is the time of the year to not rely on rational unspoken communication so much and not worry about it so much, but rather tune into our creative insights, into our emotions, and follow our gut. It's also a good time to close off any past situations, because Mercury retrograde is famously known as the time of the year when different people, exes, and different past situations re-emerge from the woodwork. So let's see, Libra, what messages Mercury retrograde has for you, and what guidance could we give you for going through with it. Okay. So far we've got Knight of Wands in reverse, Eight of Cups in reverse, and Eight of Wands in reverse. So something is getting blocked. All of these cards so far, they signify energy and advancement. Oh, two cards fell down. And I feel like I might be feeling a bit stuck. Okay. And now I'm getting a different story, because we've got a magician here to help us around. So, as I was saying, these cards signify advancement, abundance, learning, harmony, and it is so because Knight of Wands is a surge of energy, and then Eight of Chalices and Eight of Wands are self-discovery, and then swift movement and progress, and these cards are in reverse. So I feel like there might be some doubt regarding these areas in your life, but it is in your hands to turn these energies upside down and make the most out of them. And I feel like you'll be able to do it because you've got some magic up in here. Okay, I want to begin with the Magician, because I feel like Magician is tying all the cards together. So Magician is the major arcana. It's the major tarot card, number 1, signifying an energy of doing, of creating, of manifesting, of gathering your tools, gathering your resources, and performing practical magic. So the Magician is someone who is able to, I guess, take stock of what they have in their life and strategically pick out the most useful elements and throw them together in a concoction in a way that produces a tangible and desirable result. So the magician could represent someone who is able to orchestrate a good event last minute, someone who is able to make a delicious dinner from scraps, someone who is able to transform a failure into opportunity, and yada yada yada. So essentially, magician is someone who is able to perform both emotional alchemy and both practical alchemy, taking pieces that would maybe not usually go together and being able to transform them into something new, something useful, something tangible. So the magician often asks you to trust uh, your actions, and magician asks you to not snooze but act. Um, it is an energy of performing. It is an energy of going through with things, and it's also an energy of self-empowerment and wisdom and self-trust. As number one, the magician asks you to focus on one thing at a time and one task at a time, and also it represents feeling whole as your own self. It represents integrating the light and the shadow within you and using both of these to benefit you and your work and your actions. So the magician is able to manipulate in the positive meaning of the word, and it is a great sort of primal energy to have in your hands. So, as the magician this February and March, Libra, I feel like you're able, like, even if you are in unfortunate circumstances, even if you're feeling like you're lacking some energy, even if you're feeling like there's a struggle towards self discovery, and even if you're feeling like things are not moving as fast as you want, or some things are stagnant, I feel like you're able to put these resistant energies and put these doubts into your cauldron, and you're able to burn them and make a spell out of them to turn these cards upside down and progress on your journey. So you are able to take action that would address any issues you have at the moment. And I'm also drawn to the fact that in this depiction of the magician, we have a full moon in the background, and this to me speaks about the fact that perhaps you are addressing and transforming any doubts and issues that stem from your psyche, because moon represents the cycles of the unconscious, the waxing and waning of life, and the flow of life, and the dreams and the fears and feelings and all of that, all of that stuff. So I feel like the work that you're doing as a magician, the actions that you're doing to improve your environment and improve your skills and refine your toolkit, these are focused on your spiritual and emotional development, and you might take time to do this work by yourself. It might be sort of a secretive work that you do that you don't necessarily share with others, or that you keep quite intimate and don't put out in the world. You're sort of in the shadow, lurking and casting spells for the greater good of yourself. Another association that comes with the full moon in the background of the magician is that of the full moon, which we have on the 9th of March, and it's going to be a full moon, super moon in the sign of Virgo, and the magician is linked with the planet Mercury in tarot, which is appropriate for Mercury retrograde. And Mercury also rules the sign of Virgo, in which we'll have this full moon. So I feel like this March 9th full moon might be a culmination point when you feel like your spells manifested, because magician is also a card of manifestation, of gaining rewards, of seeing practical results, practical changes. It's practically constructing your reality to whatever extent you're capable of. So I feel like full moon might be a powerful time when manifestations come through, or when insights come through for you, and you're able to subvert any resistance and use that as encouragement to keep moving. And I feel like whatever doubts or fears or concerns you have, you're able to see these things as a problem that needs solving, and you approach it practically, strategically, and with a little fun and magic. So I'll just quickly touch on the energies that you might want to address this month, energies that might be of concern for you. Perhaps it's different different muddling and confusion that comes with Mercury dancing backwards, of different delays. So with the Knight of Wands, as I said, it represents a surge of energy. It represents being spontaneous, being daring, being brave, determined, and curious, and thinking out of the box. So the Knight of Wands energy is here with you, and perhaps you might be hesitant to take action. Take action on things that have been brewing in your head for a while. Perhaps you're lacking some self-confidence. If that's the case, if you're struggling to trust yourself and be proactive and take action on the things that in your head need to get done, you're being asked to allow yourself to ride this spark, allow yourself to ride the lightning. Even if you don't feel like you're 100% confident and deserving of doing a thing, just start doing it. Just take that space, make that claim, and trust your instinct, trust your creativity. I guess with the Knight of Wands in reverse, there might be some concern of appearing too bold, too brash, feeling like you don't deserve the space that you're taken up. So it's a fear of your own ego in a way. It's a fear of your creative ego. And while ego can have negative connotations, and it can sometimes derail us and derail our minds, at the same time we can use our ego as a tool, and sometimes ego simply tells us what our fears are. It can act as a warning system, which we can use strategically as a knowledge tool, as a resource, and wherever you feel like you're struggling to be spontaneous and confident and carefree and bold, perhaps that's where you might want to focus your magic and your faith. So act on the things that scare you, because you are in a position of transforming them into really useful and practical results. Then we've got Eight of Cups in reverse. Now, Eight of Cups represents leaving situations that are not working for us anymore. It's stepping into the unknown. It can represent feeling isolated and alone because we say goodbye to the familiar. But in saying goodbye to the familiar, we're only saying goodbye to a past version of ourselves, really. And we are stepping into self-discovery. So with this card in reverse, I feel like you might feel feel some anxiety over being by yourself, over getting to know yourself, over exploring yourself, your fears, your desires, and being cups being the card of love and emotions and relationships. I feel like you might be a little afraid of your own emotions and of expressing your needs in the existing relationships and leaving behind the situations that do not support your needs. So there might be some hesitance in cutting off different cords and cutting off different unhealthy or unhelpful friends or situations, or simply there might be some hesitance in proceeding and progressing on to the next step of self-discovery, because there's lots of unknown in there. That's lots of uncharted territory, but you sort of have to hype yourself up a little and imagine you're going on an adventure, you're going into the mountain to meet your own inner sage who's gonna tell you what's up with your emotions and why. So if you're into mountains, go to a mountain this month. If you're not, then take space for yourself and listen to yourself and listen to your gut and where it's guiding you, because you are entitled to know yourself, to learn more about yourself, and to respect your needs. Then Eight of Wands, which is also in reverse, as I said, represents swift movement, progress, motion, action, messages, and communication coming through quickly. So since this card is in reverse, I feel like it reiterates the idea that there might be delays in some projects that you do, or in some work that you do, or maybe in some relationships that you have. But instead of getting frustrated or thinking that it's your fault, that there's some stagnation, that there's some pauses, that there's some delays, instead of blaming yourself for that, you can see it as a natural flow of life. And sometimes things take time to brew, things take time to germinate, things take time to harvest and blast off, and all you can do is find the tune of the energy, find the way to tune yourself into the pace of the current energy, and explore your options within this pace. Allow things to go their natural rhythm, and allow things to resolve themselves, and they might take slower or maybe even faster than you'd be comfortable with. But it's not your responsibility to set the pace. It's not your responsibility to process things for other people if other people are involved, and that's why the situation is stalling. Just sort of the message that I'm getting with this card is patience and being in tune with yourself, and letting go of feeling responsible for how fast or how slow things are moving, whether it's in your creative endeavors or whether it's more about your home environment, your career, your relationships, and your love. So, speaking of brewing, speaking of germinating and harvesting, the last card that I will touch on is the Page of Pentacles, which also has come to us in reverse. So upright, Page of Pentacles represents the seed that we plant when we have a long-term project, a long-term goal. It's the potential of a long-term idea coming true. So in a way, it's an energy of getting ready to learn, of getting ready to start a new journey. It might represent you getting ready for a new course, a new module at university. It could represent you applying for new jobs, trying to switch up your career path, and it also might represent your emotional journey and planting the seed for practical and useful results in that life area in the long term. So Page is potential. Page is the grounded, it's the grounded manifestation of feeling inspired and creative and like you are a student of life. So in a way, I feel like with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, it's talking about either the fact that you have this potential, you have this vision for the future, you have this long-term plan and idea, and you're either not grounding it into reality and not taking the steps to actually plant the seed into the soil, or you might have an idea of how you want to ground it, but you're afraid of it. So, sorry, I just had a moment with these cards. As you do. So, I don't know if you're able to see, but Magician here is sort of puppeteering, manipulating, and casting spells on this tiny figure in between their hands. So there's a human silhouette in between the magician's hands. And I feel like this human silhouette, it's sort of mirroring Page of Pentacles holding the seed, Page of Pentacles holding the pentacle, Page of Pentacles holding new opportunities coming your way. So I feel like you have the vision. I feel like you are able to execute it. You have the stamina for it, you have the energy for it, you have the magician here to help you out. But for some reason you're not trusting it. So I would say, again, whatever you fear, do it. Whatever vision you have, if you are hesitant to ground it into reality because it's difficult to take the big leap, the first step, I would say find a way to do it anyway. Even if it's the most mundane things, you can build it up to bigger and more scary things. But if you notice small hesitations within you, whether it's saying hello to someone, whether it's reaching out to someone, whether it's asking someone for help, or asking someone for advice to kick off a project, to kick off any other idea that you have, I would say just do it. It might not necessarily feel comfortable at first, but if you manage to focus on one day at a time, one task at a time, and if you're able to stay here and now and strategically and calmly observe the tools that you have at your hand, you will realize that all the soil and plants are ready for growth, for seeding, for harvesting. So Libra, this is a very fertile month for the Magician. You might have some mental chatter that's distracting you, might have some fears and concerns, but I feel like you are more than capable of subverting all of these fears and turning them into opportunities, and using any mistakes or concerns and transforming them into potential for long-term roots and for long-term manifestation and growth. So thanks for hanging with me here today, Libra. I hope you have a lovely harvest moon, and I'll see you later.